Hello, everyone. Green Healing Show. And we have Dr. Andrea Greiner. She's naturopathic doctor and acupuncturist. And we're going to talk about how to reclaim our healing power by group healing. Welcome to my show, Andrea.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Yeah, I love talking about this topic and group healing and healing in general. So I'm really excited to have a bigger conversation about it.
Great. So I know, as I told you before the show, I love what you're doing. Naturopathic and acupuncture are my favorites because they are very holistic, and you actually look at the whole body and not the symptoms. And that's what I like about healing, especially healing chronic disease. So first, tell me about yourself. Start from your education. How did you end up to be a naturopath doctor and acupuncture? And did you do any healing on yourself? This science did help you to improve your health?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, as everything in life, our journey is never really a straight line, right? So I came through and into naturopathic medicine because I had traveled to Africa right after I had graduated from undergrad. And I was there at about 23 years old. And I was doing some community service work and supporting and contributing to women, in these rural villages. And I had graduated with physical therapy in mind to do after I graduated. And while I was in Africa, I recognized that there was a lot of different needs, and I loved traveling. And I thought of what would be the best way to support women and bigger groups of women and have a bigger impact where I could really travel as well. And that led me to birth and women having babies. So I did this journey of what that would look like and completed some doula training. I had never been to a birth. I did some doula training and even flew to Tennessee and trained under some midwives that worked with Ina May Gaskin. I applied to the school here in Oregon that was a midwifery program. I had still never seen a birth, but I was following this path, right? So in our lives, we have these, we're like, I'm just going to take a step, and I don't really know where this step is going to take me. And so I was applying against, women that were nurses and in hospitals and seen tons of births, but I just was taking a step, and I didn't get in, but I had found a student position with a naturopathic midwife. And so I was finally seeing births, and she was like, "Why don't you go to naturopathic school?" And I said, "No, I don't want to be a doctor. I just didn't think that was up my alley. I wanted to help people, but I didn't want to do all that schooling." And I went to the naturopathic school here in Oregon, and it felt like home. And I said, oh, this is my next step. This is where I'm supposed to be. So that was in 2008. So I started, I just didn't even, the time, the story I was telling myself back then was, I don't want to be in school that long. It's 4 years more. But once you get those feelings, I call them like the intuitive hits, or just the awareness of this is where you're meant to be, then I just jumped and didn't really think about the time. And I wasn't planning on doing acupuncture. I hadn't really had that much experience with acupuncture in this life. And so I started studying. I loved, there's parts that I loved, and it was very rigorous, the programming. It is like it's medical school, just a different approach to medicine. And 2 years in there, we had to do an introduction to Chinese medicine. And I was sitting there, and I got another of those hits, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do acupuncture. And it hadn't really, and like when I get those hits, I jump. Like it just is so strong, and I just know that this is the next step I'm meant to take. So I don't really consult people. It's not crazy. It just feels so aligned, like, oh, this is it. And so I remember making that decision and telling the midwives I was a student midwife with, and they're like, that's great. Like acupuncture is fantastic. And I knew that. And so then really in 2010, I added on the acupuncture degree. So I was in naturopathic school, naturopathic medical school, and acupuncture all together. So 6 years worth from 2008 until 2014, just really immersed in schooling. And to be honest, that was probably my most unhealthy time of my life, just school, because it's difficult to balance when you have 8 tests in a week. And just it's fascinating. Some people have really profound healing journeys. Mine was more of a spiritual journey.
Sorry, you had them together?
Yeah, I did them together.
Wow, that's tough. That's
Yeah.
tough.
And it was at the school, so the schedules were able to mix a little bit more, but they spread it out. So you didn't do medical and acupuncture all in 4 years. You spread it out. And it was tough. It was tough, and it was amazing. It was, when you can look back at life and you're like, that's really where I was meant to be, and it was meant to happen that way. Because now, even having beyond the perspective, it was still meant to be. I am doing something completely different than what I thought I would, my career would look like, and helping people. And I can talk about that, or I can answer any questions around that.
Yes. That's so amazing, because as you explain your life, I see almost everybody who goes to health have this story, because some of them experience their own healing journey, then they discover this path going to naturopathy or acupuncture. As let's say my journey, I was not health practitioner in the beginning. I was in IT. It's totally different thing. But then in one point of your life, you realize, wow, this is what I have to do. This is my passion. And without knowing, all of a sudden, all the connection you have, everything just lead you to where you have to be. And yeah, interesting.
And it's fast. And some people are listening, and some people aren't listening to that. I just always had I followed that. I've gone to Russia, I've gone to Ecuador, I went to Africa, and it was never like a conversation with my parents. It was like, I'm going to do what it takes to get here. I'm going to do what it takes to get there. It just was like, I need to do this. And so I raised money. I did what was needed to get done to do those different travels and experiences. So
beautiful. So why group healing? I know there's support everybody needs, and especially when you are you are doing some healing for yourself, you need to see other people doing the same, and you get a lot of encouragement. So when did you start group healing, and how does it work right now with you?
Yeah. Well, this is another one of those things, because here we are in 2021. This is when this is being recorded. And so that we know what happened, 2020 was the big year of life changes for so many people. So I hadn't really done a whole lot of group healing up until the pandemic. And 2020 in March, everything was, we were going to go on a 2-week pause. So I had a clinic, I had my own business. I was shifting into these different packages of pelvic floor work, more energy kind of healing over periods of time, and dropping some of the typical approach to medicine, and even naturopathic medicine. I wanted to just kind of really focus on a package. And then March 2020 came, and I was like, okay, I'm going to close my clinic. I had divinely, met an Akashic record mentor, and she read my records, and she said, oh, you're meant to create an energy healing form and create an energy healing school. And I thought, okay. And I had been I had been secretly doing energy acupuncture. I hadn't told the soul. So when she said that, I was like, well, that makes sense. And that week I just jumped in, and this is very divinely, it was divinely timed, and I was ready to experience and explore this. And so intuitively, I just got the sense, my awareness was that when we are with groups of people, healing through guided meditation or just guided meditation or sessions, a lot more can happen because our awareness spreads from you and me to, let's say, even there was a Zoom and there was 10 of us. Our awareness expands, and actually the consciousnesses are contributing to each other's healing. I don't have the scientific background on that, but that's my awareness of what happens. And so I dove right in, and the energy acupuncture form that I created was really created that third week of March, and it just dropped in. I had been doing a lot of meditation and a lot of practice with this, and I created a certification program to train healers how to do group healing, to shift their businesses so that they could be acupuncturists, they could be functional medicine practitioners. They had a way to learn energy healing and have a part of their business be online. And as that has shifted and moved, so I still do group healing. Now I have a membership, and I still teach my certified healers how to do group healing to kind of add into their business. It doesn't have to be my program is the only thing they offer in their business, but it's an added way to provide healing for their clients, for their patients, to work from anywhere, to have more time freedom with a greater impact. So that's that's a little bit behind.
Yeah, quite a story.
Yeah.
Very long story, nice. So, and I see you never stop learning and you never stop like doing the new things. That's great. Just wonder, what's the relationship between naturopathic and acupuncture? I just want to talk about this with my audience.
Yeah. Well, and this really helps align also the functional medicine. So I went into naturopathic and acupuncture because it was really looking at the root cause of, and I don't even like to say disease, so I like to say your dis-ease, whatever diagnoses you've been given, there's so much more under that. And so if you have a diagnosis and you're watching, let's just unattach whatever has been placed onto you, and knowing that like really there's so much underneath that. And so acupuncture and naturopathic medicine were a more holistic way that looked at you as a whole person. You went in to see a naturopath or an acupuncturist, and it was so much a deeper evaluation of the client, of the patient, so that they would come in and they would just be like, oh my gosh, I was finally seen for who I am, instead of a diagnosis. I didn't just go in with high blood pressure and leave with a high blood pressure medication. I went in with high blood pressure, and somebody acknowledged, how am I sleeping? What is my stress level? What am I eating? What am I putting in my brain? What am I putting in my body? And so that to me feels like home, because that's how I look at people anyways, as a much bigger version of themselves. So really, it just made sense to me. Natural medicine, using herbs, using things from the land, using energy. So acupuncture is essentially activating your own energy systems to heal.
Yeah, and you said this is like, that's what we study in functional medicine, and what we study is that saying you shouldn't just treat the paper, the lab result, but you have to go and see the underlying issues that the patient may have. So you know about the functional medicine as well?
A little bit. I mean, I would say functional medicine is kind of an offshoot of naturopathic medicine because it's very similar. You're treating the root cause. We just have a little bit different modalities than what functional medicine is. So they're in alignment, and they have a little bit different approaches of how to get into contributing to the patient.
All right. So we have few second break and we come back again.
Okay.
Please subscribe to Pantea Kalhor Transition channel and order my book Naturally Conceived through Amazon. Thank you for watching. All right, so Andrea, tell me about your own story. Did you have any health challenge? I just want to know if you could use naturopathic or acupuncture for your own sake.
Mm-hmm. I would say on the physical level, I was very healthy. So I was actually very athletic. I played soccer through college and downhill ski raced and cross country ran, and I was very healthy. So that's what really drew me to natural medicine. And I grew up in Alaska, so I was very naturally based anyways. I just like of the earth, like mountains are like my home. And so I'd never really been in the hospitals. I didn't have a big health crisis that led me to natural medicine. It was really this journey of I knew I wanted to help people, and I wanted to help people in a different way than being in hospitals. So I had the idea of being a nurse, and I thought about, I don't really like hospitals. I don't want to be in a hospital, and I kind of don't want to be told what to do, because obviously you've seen that, like, I fly by what feels like it's an alignment. And so my journey was knowing I was here to create a bigger impact and healing in a different way. That really was my journey, not as much through a health crisis, but then now I would say, and acupuncture as well, that they intertwine so perfectly, because the acupuncture really took me on a spiritual journey deeper inside of myself. Natural medicine does, but the Chinese medicine was even more, living in the seasons, recognizing how to live more in alignment with with nature. And then even in my career and moving into more of an energy, even more energy healing, because now I do online, like all of my sessions are virtual and they're very powerful, and I use the energy modality I created. So that in itself, and you would know this as well, entrepreneurial spiritual journey has just been nothing I could have imagined. And that's really what keeps me going, because that's interesting. Like, the journey within myself in order to serve and show up for even more and more women leaders and women in my membership programs. That's really what gets me excited and continue to learn and grow and expand.
Beautiful. So
Yeah.
if people want to contact you, that's your website.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Yeah. So the best
yeah,
way,
yeah.
that's my website. And it's needing a little update because, as you see, I move kind of quickly. So my certification program is really highlighted on my website for healers, for clinicians wanting to move online. I do a lot of business building on my Facebook page, where I talk about healing and the different programs I offer. And really, I have a membership program where we do healing every week. And I just love that. Like, that is so exciting. So you can find more information. That's not necessarily on my website, but you can find me on Facebook. You can message me. I talk quite frequently about the membership. And then I do one-on-ones as well.
Do you have any freebies?
I do have a freebie. I have a pelvic. I really focus on, I'm doing the energy healing and I'm focusing on the pelvic floor right now. So I have a pelvic floor freebie, which I can drop in the thread as well, either now or later. So a handout on the journey into the pelvic floor. So that I would love to share that, because that's always been a passion, obviously, with the births. And I just had a baby 2 months ago. So healing
Oh,
the pelvic
congratulations.
floor. Yeah, thank you. I have a 2-month-old. Yeah, we'll provide the freebie to kind of learn more about the pelvic floor as well.
All right. I really wish to know 3 success tips about your own health, because you said you are very healthy and you don't have any chronic disease and any health issue. What is your success secrets?
Like my secrets. My
Yes.
secrets. Okay. Well, because I really focus on the energetics of life, I find one of my secrets is meditation. So finding time by myself, and right now with a newborn, it might be 5 minutes, just where I can really tune in and connect and align with myself, with God, with nature. Another very easy one that I do is I do barefoot walking outside. So I have a garden. I'll wear my baby and I'll walk in the backyard and I'll do kind of,
Barefoot.
yeah,
That's
barefoot.
interesting.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
So barefoot grounding helps eliminate all the like computer EMF stuff that you're carrying, and it can also detox and ground you. So if we're on our phones a lot, just being barefoot outside can help bring your kind of your electric charge back down, and the earth helps balance you energetically.
It really makes sense.
It
Yeah.
does. So they make grounding pads that are really the like walking on the earth, because it helps ground out all the electronics we've been around, the Wi-Fi, all of that. So that would be my step number 2. I'm being very simple, because really the key to life can be very simple. Ooh, and I'm going to end with this one. But notice it's not what you're putting in your body, it's what we are putting energetically and all of that. So I have more recently come into something called access consciousness. And what they really focus on is living in the question. And so living in the question, so it really is saying, what else is possible? And how does it get even better than this? If you have a health condition that you're working with, you could start asking questions around that to get more clarity. And it connects you actually back into your body and back into an awareness. So I'm not giving you health tips, if you notice. I'm not saying eat your vegetables and do this, because really the energetics of your life matter more than what you put in your body. And this is all, the energy healing. So what's really shifted my life in the past 6 months is living more in the question instead of living in a conclusion. And
can you specify this?
Yeah, I know. I could tell you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't think she would say this. So this is like, it's as simple as saying, let's say something bad happens. So I can say, oh, let's say I have 2 little kids. So I have 3 kids. So I have a 2 and a 4-year-old. Let's say they're like getting after each other. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my bananas. And I just start to ask, what else is possible right here? What else is possible? And kind of just hold a question. I'll just notice that things will shift. Like they'll make a shift because I'm opening up the door by just holding a question of what else is possible. But if I lived in what's called a conclusion and I said, oh my God, this sucks. My kids suck. This sucks. What is happening? I don't like this. It's going to get worse. If you know that, that pattern, because that's how we typically go. We go, this
I follow you because I have a 3-year-old baby.
Yeah, exactly. So then on the other hand, let's say things are beautiful and amazing, because there's also those moments. And I'll be like, wow, what else is possible? How does it get even better than this? And that moment of beauty gets bigger and it gets better and more is possible. And they'll be even sweeter, or like the sun, it's just like it allows magic to come into your life. And when we're living in joy and magic and creation, that's when the healing happens. That's when life and magic can come in. But if we're always focused and living in what is called the conclusion of this is just how life is, then we can't receive the beauty of life around us.
Yes, I like it, because if you feel a stress and you magnify a stress with what you seeing and what you expect to see more, yeah, you make it work, and
Yeah.
you can actually reverse it to something better or more positive.
Yeah. And to me, it really has changed my life in the past 6 months, just holding questions, and my life has become more playful. More money has come in, clients, business, relationships, all of that has just gotten better. And it's
Andrea, let's just clarify it. Let's say your baby made such a mess on the floor, And what's the first thing you tell yourself?
I say, so because I'm still practicing, I might be like, ugh, but I would catch myself and I say, what else is possible here? How does it get even better than this? And that might seem weird because you're like, ugh, it's a mess. What do you mean? How could it get better? But just start to practice with it. What else is possible? That's what I really go to first. So I'll say, even in my relationship, there might be like, we're not meeting on the same page. And it helps me shift into reaction and into, what else is possible here that I'm not seeing? What else is possible in this mess that I'm not seeing? And you'll get a different
So
awareness.
what else? What is possible?
Yeah, what else is
Exactly.
possible? It sounds so simple, and it
So
has.
how do you answer this question?
You're
What
not.
else
You're not
possible?
supposed to answer it.
No?
No,
Okay.
no. And see,
I
that's the
try
thing.
to
That's the
practice
thing.
it
I
this
know.
time.
That's the thing, is that we want to answer it. We're like, we want to come into our logical brain and we want to plan it and we want to, but really what we want is like this opening into awareness, into like the world being able to come back and show us what else is possible. So like you might see a mess, but from that mess, let's say something magical happened. Let's say from that mess, like you were cleaning the floor and you looked up and you saw the most amazing, beautiful sunset that was life-changing. Or you looked up and, something else happened from that, because we come into the conclusion that the mess is bad and that our kid is bad or whatever, whatever we're telling ourselves. But really, like, it allows this, like, I can't quite explain it yet, but it allows more magic to come in and space to not just be in reaction, to kind of be in the space of letting, it just feels like relief. And I'd rather live in a space of openness and relief than anger and frustration, or,
Yes, I
just,
like that.
yeah. And to be honest, we heal when we're in joy. We heal when we're open. We heal when we're able to receive. If we're in a chronic state of illness, and then I can guarantee our mindset is stuck somewhere as well. And how we're taking in the world is stuck as well. And we're making a lot of conclusions. And that to me is more important than what you put in your body. Because if you have a negative mindset or a negative outlook on life, you could eat all the vegetables and take all the vitamin IVs and do all the exercise. But if we're not shifting the energetics of how you're looking at life and what you're putting into your brain and your body, it doesn't really matter. So I would say go eat McDonald's and let's shift your mindset, and then you can do the other. I'm joking.
Andre, yesterday I was thinking we went to bakery, and because my daughter love cookies and sometimes I give her some gift, and then I deprive myself to eat this because I know sugar is not good for your body. But then I remember myself when I was a kid, I used to eat everything and I really enjoy that.
Yeah,
No, I'm depriving myself from having
yeah,
coffee, having cookies, sugar stuff.
right.
And
So, but if you're telling yourself that you are bad, if you have that, that is more damaging than just having the damn cookie and loving that cookie. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Which is what
yeah,
kids do.
yeah.
They're like, "Oh my god, I love this." They're like, "Oh," and then we're like, "No, no, you can't eat that because it's bad." And then we teach, So the deprivation and the judgment of what you are eating, that's what does the harm. In my opinion, it's not if you ate that cookie like full of joy and experiencing like the people that made the cookie and the joy of like being somewhere with your daughter eating that cookie, that is so different. That's such a different experience.
Like you give more energy to your body,
Yeah,
and you really
exactly.
have
Exactly.
some pleasure with that cookie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Andre, for being here. I really enjoy. I learned so many things from you. I love barefoot walking. I'm gonna
Mhm.
practice it,
Yeah.
and questioning whenever I see such a mess or I start getting angry. I tell myself, okay. Whenever even myself, when something bad happen, I tell myself it can be better, or I will say maybe there is something there that I cannot see. and something better gonna happen later.
Well, and
So
even better is just holding a question. So what else is possible? What else is possible?
what else? What else is possible? Yeah,
Yeah.
I will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being
You're
here.
welcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
pleasure. What a joy.
Yeah. Thank you so much.